I'm considering paying my 15-year-old child for work they do on my Airbnb property. I own the property and don't have any other employees. Can I simply pay them with a check based on their logged hours, or do I need to use a payroll company? Also, if I don't use a payroll service, how do I issue a W 2 form for them? All right, so this is a very common question because many times people go online and they hear about a strategy to pay their kids, and it gets quite confusing. Before I dig deeper into the answer to this question, first thing we need to understand who is an employee and who is a contractor, and that makes a big difference. And if you want to understand the difference between those two, I'll recommend check some of the other videos on our channel and learn more about that. But I want to bring this up because many times people just assume that child is a contractor, but they can be very easily be considered as an employee because you are the one deciding when they're doing the work. You're providing them all the tools and everything. I mean, you are really in charge. So how can they really be a contractor? So that would be my first advice. So be very careful with when you hear things online and try to implement them without thinking that through. Second question here is about payroll. So obviously you can run a payroll. That's not a problem. But when you run a payroll, the whatever payroll company you will choose, they will actually withheld the FICA taxes on that payroll, which technically you don't have to pay because you're hiring your own child. But that's the problem. Basically, if you're going to run a payroll, they will withhold the FICA taxes. And if you don't run the payroll, then they don't withhold the FICA taxes, and you can just simply transfer the money to your child's account. Um, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. So is there the potential to get an audit here? Yes. If you're paying somebody, you're considering them as your employee, and you're not actually filing a W-2, so there is a potential. Can you explain to IRS that this was your own child? Yes, but I'm just pointing out the obvious, that there is a potential to get an audit because of this. Will you be able to get away with it? Probably, because, like I said, on a 15-year-old child, um, you're not supposed to withhold the FICA taxes. But at the same point, it's like the two contrary rules, right? Because technically speaking, if you don't issue a W 2 to someone you were supposed to issue a W 2, then there are penalties for those. But those penalties are based on the FICA taxes, and in this case, the FICA taxes is zero. So it's kind of like a weird situation where I think you might be able to get away with it if you get audited, but just understand the rules. I like the idea of using the payroll company if you don't mind paying the FICA taxes, because payroll companies provides like proper records. They track everything. They withhold the proper amount, and it's just nice and easy and clean. So I like that idea. But if you don't want to use the payroll company, don't want to pay the FICA taxes, and it's a disregarded entity. I'm assuming you didn't mention that in here, but I'm assuming you're using maybe the properties under your own name, or maybe you have an LLC or something like that. Then you can transfer those funds to your child, providing it is a disregarded entity altogether. So keep that in mind. And like I said, if you're afraid of audits and don't want to deal with all this compliance issue, then maybe running a payroll is also not a bad idea. And also, I think sometimes people get like really excited about this strategy, but how much are you really paying? What kind of work the child has done? So normally before clients get into this, I ask them to do a consultation and properly understand the structure and properly have all the paperwork in place before you proceed with this. Otherwise, it might not be worth it. You might be asking for more trouble than what you're going to save. Anyhow, that's my answer to the question. If you have any more questions, you can always WhatsApp me, call us at 888-260-0017, or if you want to set up a consultation appointment, we can definitely help you that way as well. All right. Thank you.